this is the second group leader videos that I wanted to share with you. And I'm just going to go over real quickly the questions, and there's just 4. Actually, they're questions and instructions for kind of how I want the small groups structured this week. And so we're just going to jump right in. The first thing I want you to do whenever you get into your small groups is kind of open up by asking if anyone has anything interesting they want to share since the last time that you all met. This can be spiritual, it can be, whatever. It can be funny, it can be serious, like whatever. I just want you to offer them an opportunity to kind of open up and be comfortable in the group this time. And, you might have 1 or 2 things that you can share yourself so that, it's just not dead air in case they don't have anything. And also, if you begin, then they're going to be more comfortable in talking as well, because who knows, you may have new people in your group this time that weren't there the previous time. So, you always got to be prepared to make it as comfortable as you can. One idea that one of the groups had, which I thought was great, since we're calling these family groups, they have come up with a last name, which is Abernathy. But anyway, that's the last name of their group. So since they're a family, they're now the Abernathys. And they're also going to get family pictures taken. And obviously this does not have to be anything formal. But it would be fun for each group to do that. In fact, please go ahead and do that. Like, come up with a last name and get your family picture taken, and we can display them somewhere in the South Campus. We can get some little, so blow them up to like 8x10s and just put family pictures up on the wall, which I think is a really cool idea, and good job on whoever came up with that. But anyway, that would be a great way to start and make it comfortable, letting the people know in your group that you are a family, that they're included. Also, don't forget, as you come in this week, if you can find the members of your family group and eat together during Echo, that would be awesome. Just to say, this whole night is about family, so please be here and be one of us. All right, so going back to question number 2, or instruction number 2, I guess, is if anyone wasn't able to be there or wasn't able to share their testimony the time before whenever y'all met, see if anybody wants to do that. Again, don't force anybody to do that simply because you don't want to create this awkwardness, and you know what? They may not have a testimony. They may not have accepted Christ yet, and you don't want to force them to lie. You don't want to force them to make up something that's not genuine, because you want to know where they're at spiritually, and how you can help them come along in their faith and in their process of getting to know who God is. And so, there may be a few people there that weren't there the last time. If you want to share your testimony again with them, you don't have to, if it's, 20 minutes long, maybe you're going to share the 2-minute version instead of the 20-minute version. But at any rate, go ahead and share that again if you want to. If you've shared and everybody else has shared, you can skip right on over that one and go to the next one. Number 3, ask if anyone has any spiritual questions that they would like answered. A lot of people do have questions. One thing that came up in the 7th grade girls class, I believe it was last week in Sunday school, and I think I'm right in saying this, was that one of the girls asked that whenever Jesus comes back, that he's going to that everybody's going to come up and meet him in the air that has died before. And they're like, where were they if they're coming up to meet him from the grave? I thought they were already in heaven or in hell. And so, that is a great question, and it deserves an answer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide each one of your groups with some slips of paper and some pens, and that way they may not feel comfortable voicing those questions because they don't want to feel dumb, like if they think everybody else knows this but me, like they're not going to ask it because they don't want to look stupid. So by providing the paper and pen, you can have them write down their question, and then you can collect them and then mix them up and just go through them and see if you can answer those questions. Now, granted, there may be some questions posed to you that you don't know the answer to, and that's okay. Don't feel like you have to have the answers to every question that they have. There are going to be plenty of adults around there in the room. So, like, if you have if you are posed with a question that you don't know the answer to, then just simply, um, raise your hand. One of us will come to you. You can ask us the question. If you get an adult that doesn't know the question, they're going to come to me. If I don't know the answer to the question, we're going to go look it up. We're going to get an answer to their question. Even if it's not that night, we'll come back the next week, the next week, and give them an answer to their question, because those kind of questions deserve an answer, and I'm super glad they're asking us rather than just assuming or asking somebody that's not going to know or that might mislead them. So, at any rate, that's number 3. Number 4, ask if anyone has been struggling with anything in particular. You're going to have to, work at building trust in your group. Again, it might do some good to go ahead and preface this with the fact that whatever's said in the group needs to stay in the group, because somebody doesn't want something that they're struggling with being shared at school the next day or the next week. And they don't want anything being held against them. And so you're going to have to develop and build a sense of group trust and unity, and for people to really be open and vulnerable in those groups. And so ask them if they've been struggling with anything in particular. If there is such a thing that they have been struggling with, then try to address the issue with Scripture. Now, I'm not saying that you just instantly say, oh yeah, Matthew 6:34 says blah, 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 and give them some answer that doesn't seem real. Like, if all you do whenever they tell you their problem is say, oh yeah, such and such scripture, like, that's not helpful, because, they feel like, okay, super, that's a Bible verse, but how does that work for me? So not only you want to give them scripture, but you also want to give them some ways that you feel like that applies to what they're dealing with, because we don't want scripture just to be a book of theories. We want them to understand that scripture has practical application in their life, in every situation in life. That the Bible is sufficient for everything that you need. And so, again, same thing applies as the previous instruction. Like, if you don't know what scripture would apply in this situation, then raise your hand. Ask one of us to help you with that, because these family groups are all about caring for people where they're at, and helping them understand that God is going to walk through them with things, or in situations of life. And, we want to build trust. We want to build their faith, but not their faith in us. We want to build their faith in the scriptures. We want to build their faith in God, because we're ultimately going to be the ones that would let them down when God will never let them down. And we can't be with them always, but He can be there with them always. And so we want faith to be built in Him, trust to be built in Him, so that in every situation in life they can rely on Him and run to Him in difficulty. So, there are just 4 instructions there. Please try to not just race through these. Girls, I know that you're going to have a little bit easier time because y'all are just naturally more verbal than the guys. So, like, you're going to have 30 minutes or more to deal with these questions. Guys, I know it feels like sometimes your groups just like race through them, and then you don't know what to do for the last whatever. Like, if that's the case, whether a guys group or a girls group, you race through all of these things and you don't have anything to talk about. Find some common interest. Start building some rapport, some commonality between you all. Talk about common interests so that they can begin to build a trust in you. And that will yield results the farther we go with these family groups. So, just in recap, look for your people whenever they walk through the door. If you could get here by like 5:30. That way you can start looking for people in your group, and you can grab them. Now I know some of you all, if you're involved in sports or maybe you're at work, you just can't do that. But get here as soon as you can, 5:30 or after, as soon as you can, and then begin to look for your people so that you can be with them. You can single them out, and not single them out, but you can get with them and eat with them and begin to build a family even that way. So if you got any questions, give me a holler, shoot me a message, a text, or whatever, and I will see you tomorrow night.